Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure unboxing and review, we're going to be looking at the new and updated Studio Series. This is of course Perceptor from the Transformers movie, but he comes with Ramhorn and Ratbat as well, which I know is a strange combination, but I suppose it's just of course in more reference to that scene from the movie. So in this video, we're going to unbox him in a second, have a look at the entire contents of the packaging. We're then going to do a detailed comparison between the original Studio Series version of himself. We're going to bring Blaster in, of course, just to see if the cassettes, which I do expect will fit in with no problems. And of course, you've seen I've got the original G1 Perceptor there again, just for a bit of fun, to do a bit of a comparison. Before we get started, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, if I'd hit that subscribe button for me now, please, because it really will help me out. And once again, to thank In Demand Toys, because that was pretty much the only place in the UK where we could get this from. It didn't appear in retail anywhere at all, and it hasn't to this date, so thank you to them. And let's start off with looking at the packaging. So we've got the industry standard sized box. You've got the slightly different, because this is the MTME, the more than meets the eye, which is of course the Target exclusives in America. So we've got this red, black, white sort of your color scheme working, which you can see. And as I say, this does seem to be exclusive just to them. Funnily enough, there is that scene right in front of you there. So let's get him out of the box and have a look at him. So yeah, as I say, we are struggling in the UK at the moment. Well, we don't see any of them. We don't have Targets, so of course Target exclusives, if we're lucky. Sometimes they appear in Smiths, but that once again is only if we are lucky. The rest of the time excuse me, it's thanks to online stores like In Demand, where we're able to get figures like this. Right, that is how he comes packaged. It does look, I've read that this bit's a completely new chest piece. It does look completely different, but what I do need to do obviously is set him free from there and come straight back to you. Okay, he's free, so let's have a look at his, in fact, let's do a comparison first and foremost, and then we'll do the articulation afterwards. So of course, this is how he comes in the box. We need to bring and rotate that up. Let's bring in the original, and hopefully you can see on this, well, straight away you can see that that's translucent and this is not. This is painted. The red is a slightly different color, the blue is a slightly different color, and in fact, as I've just read in TF Wiki, and I can see it now completely, this whole new chest piece here, this torso rather, not just the chest, the torso, that is much wider. I mean, look how much, I suppose, of the gap you've got there either side of the top of his thighs. Compared to this, it is much thinner. The paint for the silver is still pretty much exactly the same. That gap covering is huge. That is exactly what they needed to do. That is a massive improvement, so that's a great thing. To be fair, I didn't even know that was there, to be honest. That's different on the back there. Again, this does look, as silly as it sounds, a lot more animation accurate. If I fold down, does this even fold down? It must do. Wow, that is mega stiff. It's, as I say, let's have a quick look. The paints on it are different. Oh yeah, the face is different as well. The face on the other one, the original one, is like silver. This is of course more matte grey, shall we say. Yeah, you can see there as well. Look how much bigger this looks compared to that. There's a huge difference in this whole torso, to be honest. Much different. So I can see, you know, I can see why they've improved it. Do I agree on the fact that they've done it so soon? Or, you know, again, sometimes there's an argument, why didn't they just do this in the first place? I see all sides of the argument. The toes are different colours as well, to be honest. And of course, that looks to be glass there, whereas once again, this has been painted. So shockingly enough, there are way more differences than what I initially thought that there was. I've got to confess, because I haven't seen these in the UK anywhere, and again, I don't tend to watch other people's reviews for that particular reason, so it's completely fresh as it was then, and a surprise to me just how different, I suppose, everything is. Yeah, I didn't realise that there was anywhere near as much differences as to what we've just sort of found with this. So the head, this of course, as you can see, is on multiple hinges, and you can bring it to the side. It is stuck in there, so you can move this around. I don't think you can take it off. No, you can't. It's screwed on. The head will go around. It will look up and down, and again, it's much more secure because you've got that back plate in position. Arms will give you a full T, once again all the way around, completely unrestricted. Shoulder swivel, bicep flexion. Still got the gaps in the forearms, which of course these are going to fold into. You've still got a waist swivel, of course. Legs will kick past, yeah, way past the point of the splits, and this way they've got this crazy knee joint, which of course is for transformation, so you can do some really mad posing with this guy if you wanted to. This all moves as part of with the skirt, thigh cut, knee bend, ankle tilt, toe tap, 100%, loads and loads of articulation on this, to be fair. I did also read that because of the few new tabs, you aren't able to do the tank mode, and that would also make sense, because if I quickly show you the instructions, there is no tank mode in this. It is just showing you how to get to the microscope mode, which you can see there. It shows you how you can use his weapons, which I'm going to show you in a second, and then I'm hoping that I don't need them to transform the tapes in a second. But before we have a look at the tapes, let's have a look at the tapes accessories, which I love the fact that this is clever. They've utilized the tape parts accessories to give us extra weapons, which I think kind of works. Let's be honest, I think that really does work. Now, are they blast effect compatible? I couldn't tell you. I can now, because I've just found them and knocked over a load of things, but no, they're not. Not with that one anyway. So let me have a quick look again. So no, they're not blast effect excuse me, compatible at all, unfortunately. I mean, obviously, I know this part with him, with these particular accessories in his hands, was nothing to do with the movie, but it is just a great, I suppose, little addition that he can do that. Let me pop the blaster in his hand. Let me quickly just bring in the other one just to see if the blaster's the same. No, it's a slightly different shade of red as well. And again, funny enough, from this side, you can see just how different that blue colour is as well. So that's pretty cool. That's him there. Let's have a look at these. As I say, I'm hoping that these aren't that difficult. Fingers crossed I can work these out just by looking very briefly at the instructions. Legs are going to fold out. Head is going to fold out like so. This has got, I suppose, Ravage sort of vibes with it, with the fact that it's going to be big, square, and indeed kind of chunky looking at this. Let's fold these toes out. How did I just do it? There we go. There's a little, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. There's a little, I suppose, tab on the underside. Now, again, if you're watching this at a later date and he doesn't come with his accessories, not the greatest, to be honest. I think with the accessories, let me just do this. You do need them, I think, just to complete the look. So let's have a look at this, rotate this around. I would imagine that this is going to come underneath here, and yep, they're going to tab in there. So that's not too bad. It's pretty good, to be fair. And then, of course, we've got Ratbat, which, again, we've seen this. I think it was Wing Thing and something else. And I'm sure we had a Ratbat in the Siege lineup as well. I'm sure we did. So this is where you need nails, to be honest. Although I've got them. Right, it's worked. That's okay. Let's rotate this down. Yeah, I think it's this way. I'm sure it's this way. I'll quickly check the box or whatever. And there you go. You can see them there. Let me have a quick look. I'm sure that's the correct way around. Yes, it does look to be, with them coming out over the top. So they look pretty good, to be fair. To be honest, there isn't really much more to say. It's exactly what you'd expect. That's the wrong one. It's is it the wrong? Yes, it is. This one again feels weightier though, due to all the extra, I suppose, torso to him. Right, let's come right back, have a look at him in his microscope mode and see how the tapes fit as well. Okay, then back for the final time with him in his alternate mode, and let's be honest, this is not going to be the way that I'm going to be displaying him. We'll have a quick look at it. It is, of course, a microscope. Back in the day, of course, when Transformers first came out, and even before then, when they were Microman micro-change figures, this would have been quite an interesting, I suppose, alternate mode. But unfortunately, in today's sort of standards, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, it's not the most exciting. However, it does what it says it does. It does indeed look like a microscope. So there you go. You can, of course, move this up and down. These do not spin, neither do these, neither do these. You can angle it. It is a little awkward trying to get it to be completely straight. If you have these completely straight and flat, it doesn't sort of balance. You can see it gives you a slight tilt forward. Nothing too detrimental, to be honest, but it does. You can, if you wanted to, you can attach your weapon to the side and have an armored up microscope, which again seems a tiny bit silly. There really isn't much more to say about it. We've had a look at all the little different details from when it was in the robot mode. As I say, that is, of course, a part of it. It's not a sticker, it's part of the actual figure. It looks like it's pretty much painted on. So the only other cool thing to have a look at is, let's make sure that these do work, is Ramhorn is there. He's going to go inside. He fits no problem whatsoever. And of course, then he can send out his other people exactly like he did in the movie. And then, of course, let's have a look at Soundwave. And I've got to confess, again, that's a very weak sort of cassette. All this big gap here, etc., isn't the greatest, but it should and does, he says still fit. Yeah, a little bit of pressure, that fits in there, that's all you need to know. And then of course he's got his little minions with him as well. So there you go, there isn't really much more to say. If you definitely don't have the original, it's an absolute no-brainer for obvious reasons. If you do have the original, then maybe you can have fully enough exactly what I was just saying, maybe you can do a dual display. Maybe you can actually make use of the microscope mode, because it does look more like a microscope with the translucent parts on this. However, there's not much more to say about him. It is the same transformation, so the reason I didn't do that on this video is because it will be separately uploaded. In fact, I'm going to put a link in the description because it's easier. And everything else, as I say, apart from the torso and the paints, it's Perceptor, which I think looks great, and it is a good idea. Hopefully though, let's be honest, we don't get too many updates and they start to reissue all of them again. But you let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.